guys, Dan here with another book review. This time I'm reviewing Sleeping Beauties by Stephen and Owen King. If you've never heard of Owen King is Stephen's son. I will be right out there. Honestly, you guys, I've never read anything by Owen King before, so this is a first. Okay, another thing is, being that this is written by two authors, I really cannot tell the difference between the writing styles, because like I said, I've never read Owen King before. That does seem a lot like Stephen King's kind of writing, but for all I know, Owen wrote the story and then Stephen edited it down and kind of edited it so that it's like in his style. I don't really know. But one thing I do know is that this is 700 pages long. I know when I first saw this, I expected it to be half the size that it is. And yes, it is a monster of a book. Surprisingly, I read through this relatively quickly for a book this size. What it's about is, in this world, there is a sleeping sickness that only affects women. It's called different things in different parts of the world, but by the time you keep hearing the name of the sickness, they only start calling it Aurora, named after Sleeping Beauty. I guess her name was Aurora. And around the time that all these women are falling asleep and ending up in cocoons like they're butterflies, there comes this mystery woman, and I can't really say anything about her because of spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it for you, so this is a spoiler for review, and I can't really say anything about the mystery woman that shows up at the time that all this is going down. One thing I can tell you is that even though this is 700 pages long, it was suspenseful. It was enough to keep me reading it at a relatively quick pace. I was reading about 10 to 20 pages per day. Maybe more some days because some parts were better than others. This does tend to go in waves. There will be some slow parts, there will be some really intense parts, and then there were some just okay, mediocre parts to the story. But it was enough to keep me interested to just keep chugging along and to get this book read. One of my big issues with this book is when you're first getting into it, you're kind of just slapped in the face with all this information. I mean, there's 700 pages and too much information at times, when it should have just been a slow build to try to get you hooked and reeled in. Instead, the authors are throwing at you a number of characters, and this is one of my big criticisms about this book. There were way too many characters. It got to a point in the beginning where I couldn't remember who was who at first until I was at least like 200 pages in, because when you're first meeting a character, you shouldn't be throwing out there multiple characters because you're going to get them confused. And that was one of my biggest gripes with this book. There were just way too many characters, too soon, too fast. Aside from that, I did learn who the characters were by a certain point of the book, and it did become enjoyable. Now, I'm not saying that this was a bad book. It wasn't that great either. It's just an average read. I decided to give this a 3-star rating on Goodreads. It's worth picking up if you're looking for something different to read. It is kind of like an apocalypse type scenario book, but not really, because it's fantasy. Another criticism I have for this book was, at the end, things just kind of went one way, and it felt very, very sloppy. This is one of the things I feel like the authors made a big mistake in doing. They made it so that they had to have, a choice, and everyone had to be all in it. But it didn't make any sense with prior events that had happened, and they kind of weaseled it around so that it made it look like it was the right ending. So that was like another poor spot to the book I just didn't agree with. Now, I know you're probably thinking I probably hated this book, but no, I'm going to say it was an average read. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's worth picking up if you want something to read, albeit it is very, very long, so be prepared for that. It is worth checking out, though. And I will say, it's not making me want to go out and read Owen King. I really don't think it was that impressive. It was just an okay read. It is what it is. If you read this book, please let me know what your thoughts on it are down below. If you liked the video, give it a like, share it with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscriber button. I do a lot of book reviews. It's the majority of what I do now are book reviews. I don't even know why I didn't do this when I started my channel, but yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, later.